So projects again, what have we done recently? We've had some sale of assets. We sold 5 shares of Weldon. We just closed on Windsor Reservoir and Lake Canal. And we are to be receiving from the Was Subdistrict $2 million as they purchase back from GMS Pond D. I don't know if you're familiar with Shores Project. It's over by Firestone, Longmont area. Fills from the rural ditch out of Boulder Creek. GMS purchased space in one of the ponds, Pond D, to kind of help out. Well, we thought we wanted some storage up there, and now recently the board and the staff have decided that the cash would be better in GMS's hands to work on some of these other projects. So that's kind of where that's going. And again, the committee evaluate the use of the funds from sale of assets. We put it into a kind of a coffee can and bury in the backyard, kind of. We put together our own account. That way our operating expenses don't ever dig into these sale of asset funds. They're separated. Another committee, policy development. You know, we come across an issue. We got a policy committee. It works very hard. They take the time to digest all the information. I think they do a really good job developing policy. Some of the recent policies that we're working on or have been implemented, dual plans. You guys are going to hear a lot about dual plans. Dual plans, the GMS and the Was augmentation plans are, and the staff, we're kind of nervous about them to an extent that the state engineer's office has determined that any water pump from a GMS or Was well, if the supplemental plan does not cover that depletion, the state right now is saying it's on you, GMS. So we want to make sure, we don't want to shut off the avenue for other parties to get supplemental plans to increase their quota, but we want to put some enforcement, some tools behind that so we make sure that the rest of you folks don't get injured. So we're working on that plan. I look back in my minutes and we started talking about that I think in June of 2008. So we've spent a lot of time, a lot of board time. Inoperable wells, I think some of you unfortunate people may be in the audience. We had to meter all of our wells, of course, and then we found, you know, when John and I were out doing meter appointments, there are some wells that you guys don't pump, you know. Well, we've digged into our decree a little further, got some more legal advice, talked to the state, you know. Even if that well has the opportunity of pumping a drop of water, we got to get it metered. So that's why we're out there. And I think, what, John, how many was there? Like 50? 75? 75 out of the 900 plus wells. We had to meter or do something with them. Use of aug stations. Central has, we pretty much have all the bypass structures on the river that Ruth Ann explained. There's other augmentation plans that need to use those things. So we've always been generous. If there's any space, we'll always allow them, but we thought the board and staff thought we should put that in a policy to define that. Another one, the more recent one, removal of surface water. If you remember putting their contracts together, the board said, write down, tell us what surface water you have on your account or on your farm and listed on your contract. Well, since we've switched to meters, we're more concerned about allocation through that flow meter. So if you have surface water and you want to take it off your contract for one reason or another, the board right now is allowing that by case basis. And Lynn Kramer and I discussed it. Lynn Kramer, our contract manager, she said if anybody in the audience wants to discuss that, she'd be the person to contact. So keep that in mind. Metering, we got, like I said, 900 wells that we metered. We have inoperable wells that we had to take care of. Member provided data. Your postcards are really important. You know, we know it's a hassle, but we sure appreciate that. We got to get that into accounting, like Bruce said, as frequently as we can, especially the wells that are next to the stream. They have immediate effect on the accounting. Tampering, seals, and logos. You're going to be seeing our meter guy, which I think he's here today in the back. Rod. He's been going out in the field and doing some service, which I'm going to get to in the next couple of slides. But in order to prevent tampering and that kind of thing, we're not picking on anybody specifically, but we're putting a wire seal and a copper wire and a lead seal around the meter just to make sure that meter doesn't come off of out of the flow tube here. So it goes around the diameter of the pipe, the flow tube. And then we're putting a logo on the cap. We've had a few constituents that maybe we haven't been clear enough in the last few years, but the meter is the property of the water district. So if you take it out, then we have to worry about tampering and where did it go, and we got to chase it down. Maybe it ended up on a semi because you sold your sprinkler to somebody and it's in Nebraska now, you know. Hard telling what happened. Access and safety. You guys are all getting real familiar with our meter reader, and we've run into some situations where there's some exposed well casings. There could be some electrical hazards around the well. If we're just asking if you feel that you have a hazard around your irrigation well or something, if exposed casing, if you could cover those things up. Don't really like to. We like Rod. I don't want to see him fall into one of them wells. So we appreciate that. And then completed February 09, we got an update from John that we are fully metered now, which is great news. Hi.
About the certification of these meters.
Mm-hmm.
What's the process? How often do you have to do it? And what do you do to certify them?
If you can hold on to that, I got a slide here in a couple of minutes. We're getting there. Telemetry. You see a satellite orbiting around. We are looking at a pilot project with the